Hello, everyone. Welcome to class. I am wearing my microphone today, so I hope I have it set up to where you can hear me just fine. And so I won't have to yell across the room to you. So if you are joining me in the future, again, welcome. I hope you've had a great week, a great day, a great morning, evening, whatever it is that you are doing today. Let's go ahead and come to a comfortable cross-legged position so that we can drop in and start to switch our hat. So if that means crisscross applesauce, that's great. Maybe you want to come heel to pelvis, heel to ankle, sitting up nice and tall, maybe bringing a pillow underneath the hips if the hips and legs are really tight today. And we close the eyes, starting to tap into the breath. Inhaling deep in through the nose, sending the breath down, down to the belly. Imagining the lower corners of the abdomen filling with air. And exhale, we feel the ribs lift and soften. Belly button draws back towards the spine. Maybe curves up towards the ribs. If you haven't already, bring your awareness to the body, beginning to do a body scan. Maybe starting with the head and the neck, or starting at the feet and the lower legs. We just become an observer to the sensations of our own body. We start to make our exhales longer than our inhales. Growing tall on our inhale. Softening on the exhale. Stay here for 5 more breath cycles, really tapping in, dropping in. One more breath cycle here, deep inhale. And a long, slow exhale. Gently, we open the eyes. Sitting up nice and tall, let's do some seated cat-cow. So hands come right to the knees. We inhale, shift the chest and belly forward, bending at the hips. We draw the elbows back behind us in space, pinching the shoulder blades together, bringing that arch that we're familiar with. And cat, gaze lifts just slightly. Exhale, we draw our belly button back to spine and let the abdomen round through, dropping chin to chest. Shoulders drop down away from the ears, or in cat. Inhale, belly shifts forward, chest comes forward over the shins, line of the knees. Gaze is open, chest is open. Exhale, round through. Inhale, finding your cow. Exhale, drawing back to cat. Inhale, cow. Last round. Exhale, coming into cat. And then let's take some torso rotations here. So drawing ourselves back up through center, we shift the belly button over towards the right thigh, letting the chest lean forward over the right knee, and then swimming through that center line until the chest is above the left knee, belly buttons towards the left thigh, and we round out our circle like we did in our cat, bringing it back over the top of the right thigh. So now that you know what we're doing, go ahead and take some rotations on your own. So normally we would do this maybe on or after, excuse me, our cat-cows in our tabletop as our neutral position. So using the floor or a kneeling posture to get this same movement. So this is great to do seated cat-cow and seated torso or hip circles when you are maybe feeling a little sore in the upper body. Maybe you have some inflammation in the shoulders that you don't want to aggravate. Go ahead and pause when you're on the back end of your circle, and we'll rotate our torso twists here. Incorporating the neck, however that feels comfortable, making sure that we're keeping both hips rooted down to the ground. So we're moving from the hips. The glutes stay firm. Exhale, we draw ourselves back to center. We inhale, both arms come up overhead. Exhale, we drop both palms down in front of us so that they're shining out beyond the front of our body. Wrists are in line with the shoulders. Fingers are nice and wide. Inhale. Exhale, right arm is going to drop under the left as we bring left elbow bent to the right elbow crease. Okay. Now, right fingers or the top of the right hand can come to the top of the left palm. Or maybe we cross right fingers, wrapping around the left wrist, coming to rest against the left palm. Eagle arms. Let's sit up nice and tall. In your next exhale, let's drop the chin to the chest and start to round forward the upper back just slightly. Pausing at whatever edge decides to pop up for you. On your next exhale, we draw belly button back to spine as we start to straighten, raising the head, and maybe gaze reaches up towards the sky as we lift the elbows. Exhale draws us back to center. Gently, we unravel the way that we came, sending both arms out in front of us, and then reaching up above the head, biceps by the ears, before dropping arms down gracefully by our sides, hands rest right at the hips. Okay, let's take it to the other side. Inhale, both arms come up overhead. And then float down in front of us. Palms are facing away from the front body. Fingers are nice and wide. Exhale, left arm this time drops underneath the right. Right elbow comes to rest inside the left elbow crease as we wrap the hands either around each other or rest the front of the hands against one another. We sit up nice and tall so abdomen is engaged here so that we're stabilizing at the center. And we feel this big stretch, this big release between the shoulder blades, right at the center of the upper back, right behind the heart space. Exhale, we drop chin to chest, starting to round through the shoulders slightly. Gaze comes straight down, forearms may become parallel with the earth. Exhale, belly button to spine as we start to straighten, hitting that midway point, and then lifting the gaze, chin face towards the ceiling, elbows following the lead. Exhale draws us back to center as we unravel, gently coming out the way that we came. Hands come out in front of us and then up overhead, biceps by the ears, before arms float wide down by our sides. Inhale, both arms come up overhead. Exhale, right hand to left knee as left hand falls behind us in space and we find our twist. Gaze reaches out past the left shoulder. Bringing an awareness and attention to the right shoulder as we actively drop it down away from the ears. And then maybe we drop left ear to left shoulder. Left elbow crease is rotated away from the body, opening the heart space, the shoulder, the pectoral muscle. One more breath here. Exhale, we gently unravel back to center before taking it to the other side. So we inhale, both arms come up overhead. Exhale, left arm to right knee, right hand falls behind us in space. We actively drop the left arm, the left shoulder away from the ear. Feeling that opening in the left side of the neck, the left shoulder. Right shoulder's externally rotated, opening up the chest. Exhale, we unravel back to center, starting to dive forward. So both hands come down to the earth right in front of the crossed legs. If your ankles are getting sore or uncomfortable, you can always bring a blanket right underneath. As we start to walk the forearms down to the earth, or we just walk the hands out in front of us or away from the body, keeping the arms and elbows straight. Both hips stay rooted down to the mat as we drop the crown towards the earth. On your next exhale, we gently walk both hands over towards the left, bringing the belly button towards the left thigh. Again, dropping the crown towards the earth. Exhale, we walk both hands over towards the right. One more breath cycle here. We stay for our next inhale. Exhale, we walk the hands back to center and then use the heel of the palm to gently walk us up into our seated position. Excuse me, I'm just tucking my shirt here. Let's sit up nice and tall, taking one more big breath, lengthening the spine. And then gently, we're going to come into our tabletop position just briefly as a transition. So whether you roll right through the ankles, depending on your positioning, you can also drop both hands to the mat on the outside of one of the thighs. and rotating that way. Or you swing one leg off to the side, or both legs off to the side, excuse me, as we come into a tabletop position. Toes curl under, we walk the hands out slightly in space. We're using a 1 downward dog today. We inhale, and on the exhale, hips go up high. As we take a moment to settle in to this slight inversion, noticing how the body feels today. We press away from the yoga mat, stabilizing the shoulder joints, lifting out of the shoulders. Fingers are nice and wide. Hands are strong. Belly button draws back towards the spine as we drop the belly towards the tops of the thighs. Maybe you take your dog on just a little walk, or we save that for when we come up into our forward fold. Maybe you keep the arms nice and long and strong as you bend one knee and drop it over towards the opposite knee, foot. Just taking some gentle organic movements. Let's come back to center, finding a moment of stillness for a full breath cycle. Our exhale fuels our movement as we make our way to the top of the mat. So you can either take small steps, baby steps, maybe crisscross walk, maybe you take one big step. Feet meet the hands. As we take 3 breath cycles in our forward fold. Taking any movement that feels good to you, or finding stillness, bending at the hips, crown shines down to the earth. Stay for the next inhale. Exhale, we roll our way up to mountain. Arms come with us. Up overhead, palms kiss together. Descending at the heart space. Arms go down to come up. Exhale, palms flip externally as the hands start to drop right at the tail, interlacing. One thumb on top of the other. We draw both sets of fingers down towards the earth. Opening the chest, gaze lifts slightly towards the ceiling as the chin follows. We've got a buoyancy in the knees as we inhale here with a slight back bend, starting to bend at the hips on the exhale, coming into a forward fold. Slowly, belly drops towards the thighs. We lift the fingers away from the body. Crown shines down to the earth. On your next exhale, we'll gently release the hands, letting them float right down to the feet. Inhaling lifts us up halfway, figure 7 shape with the body. Hands are on the shins, tops of the thighs, or the ground. Gaze is straight down. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, rolls you right up to mountain. Arms come with you up overhead, palms kiss together, descend at the heart space. Arms go down to come up. Palms flip externally as the fingers drop right at the tail. Opposite thumb on top this time as we loop the shoulders, drawing the fingers down towards the earth. Slight back bend as the chest opens, gaze and chin lifts towards the ceiling. Buoyancy in the knees as we inhale. And exhale starts to float us down, chest is open. Crown shines down to the earth as the fingers lift away from the body. Exhale, we gently release both hands, letting them float down to the feet. Inhaling lifts us up halfway, figure 7, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, root to rise, rolls us right up to mountain, arms coming with us up overhead to close out the round, palms kissed together, descending at the heart space. Close the eyes, we're here for one breath cycle. We heel toe, the feet together until the big toes are touching. We've got a small gap between the arches and the heels. Arms go down to come up. Palms kiss together. We look up at our sweet hands, letting them float down to the heart space, starting to bend at the elbows. We bend at the knees, sending the hips back behind us in space, chair pose. Elbows are wide at the sides. We're pressing into the fingertips of the opposite hand, creating a little resistance. Tail shoots down towards the earth. Belly button is nice and engaged. One more breath cycle. On your next inhale, arms come up overhead, starting to straighten the elbows, straighten the knees. When you hit the straight points, arms widen at the sides. We bend at the hips, floating down into your forward fold. Inhale lifts you up halfway. Exhale, fold. Fingertips come down to the mat as we step just the left foot back and we find ourselves in lunge. We settle here, letting the breath guide this release in the hips, the front of the thighs, the hamstrings. One more breath cycle. Stay for your next inhale. Exhale, we power through that front foot, rising up into high lunge, biceps are by the ears. Squeezing the inner thighs towards the midline to find balance. We send the breath to those shaky muscles. We're sending the back foot's heel spiking towards the back edge of the mat. We're firmly rooted in the front foot. Inhale. Exhale, we take the arms into a wide V, naturally opening the chest. We squeeze the shoulder blades together and then let them drop down the back body. Slight back bend. Exhale, palms kiss together, back up overhead before pivoting on the back foot, opening up. Warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Wrists are in line with the shoulders, gaze is out past the front fingers. Be mindful of the pelvis, bringing it right underneath the heart space. Exhale, front arm lifts, peaceful warrior. Staying long on both sides of the torso. Exhale, we float forward into extended side angle, your version. Exhale floats you back to warrior two. Gaze comes back out in front of you. We inhale, front arm lifts as the front leg straightens, reverse triangle. Reaching towards the back edge of the mat. And here we go, we're gonna pivot, ready? Inhale, exhale, both arms windmill as the front knee bends and we swing the back leg, or excuse me, pivot on the back foot, coming back into our lunge. Inhale, exhale. We lift the hips, stepping that back foot up to meet the front. We find ourselves in forward fold. Inhale, exhale, root to rise. We start to roll our way up to mountain. Arms come with us up overhead. Palms descend at the heart space. Here we go. Big toes are together, space between the arch and the heels. Arms go down to come up. Palms kiss together as we look up at our sweet hands. And on the descend down to the heart space, we start to sink the hips back. Elbows come at 90-degree angles. We press into the fingertips. We're sinking the weight back into our heels, squeezing the knees, the inner thighs together. Tail ascends down towards the earth. Abdomen is engaged. Using the breath to steady us, anchor us. Next inhale, arms start to straighten, legs start to straighten until we hit that sweet spot and we bend at the hips, falling into our forward fold. Inhale lifts you halfway. Exhale, fold. Fingertips come down to the mat as we step just the right foot back this time, finding our lunge. We're light on the fingertips. If it feels better to bring the fists down to the ground, right next to the left foot, that's great. If you have blocks that you're using today and you want to bring the earth up to you a little bit, that's great too. Let's be mindful of our shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades together, opening the chest, gaze is straight forward. We're here for one more breath. The legs are working hard. Exhale, we use that breath to power us up into our high lunge. Biceps are right by the ears. Keeping the gaze soft, we find a point of focus. Become mindful of our foundation, that which is touching the earth. Inner thighs are squeezing towards the midline. Inhale. Exhale, we widen the arms into a nice wide V, drawing the shoulder blades together and then letting them melt down the back body. Gaze and chin lift slightly towards the ceiling. Exhale, biceps come back towards the ears, palms kiss together, and then we pivot on the back foot, opening up, warrior two, wrists drop in line with the shoulders. Back arch is in line with the front heel. We're pressing into the outer edge of that back foot. Our stability. Exhale, front arm lifts, back arm drops, peaceful warrior. Exhale, extended side angle, your version, lower body is stable. Exhale, draws you back up into warrior two. You're here for one more breath cycle, sending the breath to all the areas that are starting to be shaky. Exhale, front arm straighten, straightening the front leg at the same time. We reach the arm towards the back edge of the mat, reverse triangle. Your next exhale, here we go. We're pivoting all the way back down. So bend in the front knee. We windmill both arms, pivoting on the back foot, bringing us back into our lunge. Your next exhale, we lift the hips slightly to bring that back foot up to meet the front, finding ourselves in forward fold. Inhale, exhale, root to rise. We roll our way up to mountain. Arms come with us up overhead. Palms kiss together, descend to the heart space. Arms go down to come up. This time we fold all the way down, Uttanasana. Fingertips come down to the mat as we step the left foot back. We're in lunge, but we're staying nice and low as we bring the right hand over to meet the left on the inside of the left foot. We lift the right toes up off the mats, bringing the weight into the right heels. We start to pivot the right toes towards the long edge of the left side of the mat. So we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So both toes are pointed slightly towards the midline. Heels are pointing towards the outer edges of the mat. Weight is pressed into the outer edge of the foot. We're lifting from the arches, drawing energy up through the midline, the inner thigh. We're bending at the hips. If you want to test that by placing the hands right on the hips, that's great. Crown shines down towards the earth. So maybe you have hands on the hips. Maybe you have fingertips on the earth. Maybe you have palms on the earth. Maybe you like to have contact with your own body, feet to hands. So we bring the pointer and middle finger to wrap around the big toe, clasping with the thumb. Shining the crown down towards the earth. We send the breath into the hamstring, the low back. Letting this release happen in the lower body. We let gravity be our friend in our upper body. We send the breath big and deep into the belly, feeling the skin of the low back expand on the inhale. We feel the hamstrings, the hips, the legs softening on the exhale. You have a bind around the toes. Let's go ahead and release it and bring the palms right underneath the head space. We'll lift up slightly onto the fingertips so that we can heel toe, the feet a little closer to the hips. This time toes are going to point away from us. Heels are pointed towards the midline. As we use our hands to guide our weight, dropping the hips right in between the heels. Elbows come to the inside of the knees, palms kiss together at the heart space as we send the hips right down towards the earth. Sending the heart towards the thumbs. We open the chest. Maybe we close the eyes. If this is uncomfortable or something that your body does not want to do today, you can always drop the hands right in front of you, shifting the weight up onto the toes, the ball of the heels, and take your squat that way. Maybe you take some gentle movement side to side when you do so. Maybe bring some support underneath the heels. So a rolled up blanket or a pillow even up underneath the heels would be a great way to build the earth up to you. If you fall or need to take a break, listen to your body and know that that is okay. We're here for 3 more breath cycles. Strengthening the legs, strengthening the hips, the hip flexors. And after your next exhale, we'll use our hands, one in front, one behind, to guide us right down onto the bum, sending the legs out nice and long towards the front edge of the mat. You might need to rotate depending on your position. And we come all the way onto our backs. When we get there, knees come up towards the chest as we wrap fingers around the shins. Both shoulders reach down towards the mat as we snuggle the shoulder blades right underneath the heart space. Chin tucked slightly towards the chest to keep length in the back of the neck. Belly grows nice and heavy, finding that wide connection in the back with the mat, keeping us stable. With your next exhale, we'll release just the left foot down to the mat, sending it out long towards the front edge of the mat, but we keep the heel elevated. So toes are pointing up towards the ceiling on the left foot. Heel sits just an inch or two above the mat. Your next exhale, we draw the right knee towards the right shoulder. Let's take one big inhale together. And on the exhale, we drop the left heel, squeezing the right knee towards the right shoulder. One more inhale, and your exhale, we draw the right knee across the midline, over towards the left, recline twist. Exhale, belly button to spine. So we draw the right leg back towards the midline. Right sole kisses down to the earth as we bring the left knee up towards the chest, interlacing around the shin. We send the right leg out long, heel hovers just slightly above the mat. Toes pointed up towards the sky. Exhale, left knee squeezes to left shoulder. Let's take another inhale together. And exhale, we drop the right heel, left knee squeezes closer to the body. Your next exhale, we take left knee across the midline over to the right side of the mat. Left arm maybe comes out to a half T at your side, keeping both shoulders pinned down to the mat. Exhale, we draw belly button back towards the spine. Coming back through the midline, we send the left leg out to meet the right at the front of the mat. Hands come down by the hips, either nice and close to the hips, or maybe we take a wide arm stance today, nice and relaxed. Take one more breath together. Big inhale. And a long exhale. Palms come together, either at the heart space, thumbs up to the third eye, maybe one hand on the heart, one on the belly. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Go ahead and thank yourself for showing up. It is the most difficult thing that we can do, and you did it, so I'm proud of you. If you have time to stay in Shavasana longer, I would encourage you to do so. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your practice, and I will see you next time.